I've been there. You see a cheap gaming laptop on sale for half the price of a premium brand, you click buy and a month later you're stuck watching games stutter at 30 frames per second, the screen looks washed out, and the battery dies before you even finish a level. That "I wish I'd spent a little more" feeling is what makes me pause before any big purchase. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So the question is whether the Alienware 16 Aurora feels like a smarter spend or just another flashy name tag that ends up in the same regret pile. First off, let's talk about the kind of gamer who would actually sit down with this machine for a few hours every night. If you're someone who runs modern AAA titles on ultra settings, streams your gameplay, and also wants a laptop that can double as a content creation workstation, the Aurora's 16-inch WQXGA panel and RTX 5060 GPU are aimed squarely at you. On the flip side, if you're mostly playing indie games, older titles, or you're happy with 1080p and 60Hz, you'll likely find a lot of this power unnecessary and the price hard to justify. The display is the first thing that catches the eye. A 2560x1600 resolution on a 16-inch screen gives you a pixel density that makes textures feel razor-sharp, and the 120Hz refresh rate actually shows its worth when you fire a rapid-fire shotgun in a fast-paced shooter. The motion feels fluid, not blurry. In practice, I set up the laptop on a small desk with a decent external mouse, and the extra vertical real estate helped me keep the HUD, inventory, and a Discord window all visible without constantly toggling. The 300 nit brightness isn't stadium level, so if you game in a brightly lit room you'll notice some washout, but the Comfort View Plus coating does reduce eye strain during those marathon sessions. Now, the heart of the machine, a 13th Gen Intel Core i7-1240H paired with 32GB of DDR5 RAM. In real-world testing, loading a fresh copy of Cyberpunk 2077 took just under a minute, and once you're in the world the frame rates stay comfortably above 60 frames per second on high settings. The extra RAM really shines when you have multiple apps open. I was editing a video in Premiere while keeping a game running in the background, and there was no noticeable lag. The 2TB PCIe SSD gives you massive space for a growing game library and a quick boot Windows 11 Pro environment. The downside? The laptop runs hot under sustained load. The fans kick in noticeably after about 20 minutes of intensive gaming, and while the cooling does keep temperatures within safe limits, the acoustic profile becomes a low to mid-range whine that can be distracting if you're trying to listen to in-game dialogue or a voice chat. Connectivity is solid but not over-engineered. 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, HDMI 2.1, and an Ethernet jack mean you can plug in a monitor, external hard drive, and a wired internet cable without needing a dongle hub. I was able to connect a 144Hz external monitor for competitive shooters, and the laptop mirrored the same high refresh experience without dropping frames. The only gripe is that there's no SD card slot, which would have been handy for quickly moving video footage from a DSLR when you're editing on the go. Battery life is another practical point. With the RTX 5060 drawing power, you're looking at roughly 3 to 4 hours of mixed usage, a bit more if you're just browsing or streaming, a lot less if you're pushing the GPU to its limits. That's typical for a gaming laptop of this caliber, but it does mean you'll need to stay near a power outlet for any serious session. If you travel a lot and need long unplugged periods, you might be better off with a thinner, less powerful Ultrabook that trades raw performance for endurance. Who should buy this? Think of a serious gamer who also does creative work, maybe a small-scale streamer or a YouTuber who edits footage on the same machine they game on. The combination of a high-resolution, high-refresh display, and a decent GPU means you can produce content at 1080p or 1440p without a separate desktop rig. The 32GB of RAM ensures you won't hit a ceiling when multitasking with Adobe apps, OBS, and Discord all open. If you're a college student who wants a laptop that can handle both coursework and the occasional Fortnite session, the Aurora could be a viable, albeit pricey, option. Who should skip it? Anyone on a tight budget, anyone who primarily plays esports titles that don't demand a 120Hz WQXGA screen, and anyone who values silence over raw horsepower. The fan noise under load, the modest battery life, and the lack of a built-in SD slot are trade-offs that more budget-oriented laptops avoid by dialing down the specs. For a gamer who's happy with a 1080p 60Hz screen and a GTX 1660 class GPU, you can get a perfectly capable machine for a fraction of the price. In terms of value, the Aurora's strengths lie in its future-proofing. The RTX 5060, while not a top-tier card, still supports ray tracing.